What are OKR views and how to use them in UpRaise? I've already navigated to the objectives and key results screen from the left-hand navigation under the UpRaise app. And in there, I've opened the Browse OKRs tab. Before looking into the concept of views, let us understand the content of this page. At the top, you have the option to choose between a list view and a thumbnail view. Then you've got the ability to manage on-screen filters. We'll come to the filters in a couple of minutes. Then on the right-hand side, you have this link to create view, clicking on which you get this pop. Again, we'll come to this in a minute. Immediately after that, you have got a drop down, and you will notice in here, you'll have three different sections. First section is default views, which has these 4 views listed inside of it. Then you have got my views. Right now it has 1 view listed inside of it. And then there is another section called views shared with me. That section appears only if someone else from within your UpRaise instance has created a view and shared that with you. For the logged in user, that is not the case, and that's why the third section is not visible. Then you have the ability to export these objectives in the form of an Excel sheet. Here you'll notice the page size as well as the total number of search results. And on the extreme right, you have the ability to reset width of the columns in the table. As far as the actual content is concerned, it's a tabular view wherein you will be able to expand any of the objectives to show up their key results and corresponding children items. Mind you, this is different from the Explorer view or the hierarchy view, which we have already seen in a different video, where it shows up the alignments. This screen, the Browse OKR screen, does not show you the alignments. It only shows you the objectives and corresponding key results. Now, let's come back to the topic of views. Views are nothing but a combination of filters and columns that are displayed on the screen. What I mean by that, let's start by clicking on Create View. When I click on that Create View link, I'm offered this form. Let's say I want to create a view that is specific to my marketing team. So maybe I'll call it Marketing Team OKRs, right? Now you have 3 different tabs available in here. In the first tab, you can decide which filters to use. In the second tab, you will see columns. In the third tab, you will have visibility. Let's focus on the filters first, because that's the one where most of the magic happens. Here, you are able to choose 1 or more levels, objective levels. You can also choose status of the objective cycle, or you can click on the select option and then actually choose the cycle for which you are looking for the data, right? Then you can click on owner. You can also use some variable options. You can use the logged in user, logged in users manager, logged in users direct reports, logged in users teammates. What all of this means is, imagine if the owner is logged in user, meaning you're creating a view where the logged in user is owner of those OKRs. Meaning every marketing team member, if I'm sharing this view with them, they'll be able to see their own OKRs under this view. If let's say you created a view called My Manager's OKRs, right? In that case, you can set up the owner as logged in users manager. I hope you get the idea. But for whatever reason, if you wanted to choose specific users, you can click on the select users option and then choose the actual users. Similarly, you have status. You can handpick statuses, one or more statuses in here. These are objective statuses, of course. You can also pick up labels. Here again, you've got a little bit of complexity involved. You can create more complex filters than just choosing certain set of labels. So you can decide, you can find out, or you can use the filter that says, give me all the objectives that have labels set to empty, or maybe one of the given values. So you choose the values, and any of means any one of these values is applied to the objective, it appears in the search results, right? So there are these multiple variations that you can use as far as the filtering is concerned. I don't need any of that, so I'll just keep that to empty. Then you've got objective start date and objective due date. Here as well, you have different types of filters. So let's say objective start date is before. If you say is before, then you can pick the date. Is after, again, you can pick the date. Then you've got a little bit of smart filters that say last 90 days. Objective start date is in last 90 days or next 30 days or custom, right? So you can apply these kind of filters for all due date type of attributes. You can decide how many results to display on the screen. Let's say 50. You can even put in some filters on the objective and key result titles. Then you can add filters on the objective progress percentage. By the way, you have this small link show less, which hides the additional filters that are there on this interface. Mind you, we are soon changing the user interface for these filters, but the core of the functionality is going to remain the same. You can choose the objective progress percentage is equal to, then you provide the progress percentage, is less than, is more than, is between, whatever makes sense for your situation. Then last punch in. So let's say you wanted to look at all of the OKRs that have never been updated in terms of their progress. So you'll use the never option. Let's say you want to identify OKRs that have not been punched in the last 2 weeks. So you use this option. You can even choose a custom date range. Then you've got objective created by, objectives updated by. These are user type of filters and they follow the same logic as the owner, objective owner. Then you have objective created date, objective updated date, owner's team. Now this is an important parameter. Let's start with the example that we had earlier. Let's say I want to look at my marketing team OKRs, objective cycle. I only want to look at the objectives from an active cycle. And here I want to say that owner should belong to the marketing team, right? Confidence status, on track, at risk, not available, lagging. Confidence score, again, you can provide a range, you can provide less than, more than, anything custom. And whether there is any kind of alignment in place. If you want to identify whether an objective has some kind of alignment in place, you can utilize this objective alignment filter, right? So this is how you choose any of the filters. You can use multiple combinations to come up with the filter that best serves your purpose. Moving on to the second tab, that is columns, you'll notice on the left hand side you have available columns, on the right hand side you have visible columns. Under the available columns, you've got a bunch of things that you can use. So let's just imagine for the marketing team OKR view that I'm creating, I want to see the latest comment. I want to see the latest comment, who made that comment, and the latest comment date. Maybe I want to look at the due date as the last column, because most likely it is going to be end of the quarter. So I can make these changes. If I do not want to look at the, let's say, status, I can get rid of it by clicking on the visible columns, right? Now I have included the columns that I want to see on the marketing team OKRs view. And finally, I'll choose the visibility. If I want to keep the visibility to private to only myself, I'll use the default option. But if I wanted to share this with all my marketing team members, I'll share it with them. I can even handpick users explicitly to make this view available to them, right? If you want, you can always click on this use cases link to identify different situations where these powerful views could become helpful. Now I'll click on this save button and it will create a view. You'll notice it gives me search results that are specific to the filters that I have applied. I can expand any one of these. For example, I have expanded this objective here, and on all the latest comments that are there, I can see them immediately. So this is how you create a view. If you own a view, you will be able to edit it as well or delete it as well. As an UpRaise administrator, there is an additional section under the manage tab where you can dictate the default views that are displayed to your colleagues within UpRaise instance, as well as get rid of the views that are owned by deleted or inactive Jira users. We'll talk about that in a separate video. But for now, this was views. One thing that I would still want to add on top of this is the filters, the on-screen filters that I just expanded, apply on top of the view search results that are there, right? So imagine I have all objectives as a view, which is a default view. And then let's say I want this to be one of the filters, marketing, and I don't need this. What I need is objective cycle. Objective cycle is Jan to March 2023. You'll notice I've got the exact same result that I had for the view that I created, marketing team OKRs. So depending on what use case you're trying to address, whether you want to create a persistent filter, a persistent view that you have to use over and over again, then we recommend creating views and sharing those with your team members so that you can always look at it just by switching a value in the dropdown. However, if you're just looking to apply a filter temporarily, then you can use the on-screen filters. You can use the functionality of views for creating different views. For example, we use this specifically for our biweekly OKR review meetings to highlight OKRs that are at risk of non-completion in our all hands meetings and to follow multiple different OKR rituals. Hope that was helpful. Thank you.